In the ancient land of Aram, modern-day Syria, where mountains embraced the skies and desert winds whispered of empires past, lived a man named Naaman. He was the commander of the army of the king of Aram. Feared by enemies, respected by his men, and honored by his king, Naaman's name echoed in the corridors of palaces and battlefields alike. He was a man of valor, a war hero, and a symbol of national pride. He had led victorious campaigns against neighboring nations. When Aram clashed swords with Israel, it was often Naaman who led the charge, orchestrating victories with masterful precision. Yet, despite his military glory, Naaman bore a hidden affliction, one that no sword could defeat, and no chariot could outrun. Naaman was a leper. Leprosy in those days was more than a medical condition. It was a curse, a sentence that carried physical decay and social isolation. It began subtly, a pale patch on the skin, a numbing of sensation. But it progressed relentlessly, causing ulcers, deformities, and stigmatization. For a man like Naaman, whose presence demanded reverence, the disease was an invisible shame, a ticking clock threatening to reduce a hero to a pariah. He kept it secret for as long as he could. Only his household attendants knew. Among them was a young Israelite girl, a slave taken during one of Naaman's raids into Israel. She was perhaps 12 or 13, far from home, her freedom stolen. Yet she held a quiet faith, a flickering light that even captivity could not extinguish. One morning, the young servant girl approached Naaman's wife. She had seen the general's bandaged arms, his withdrawn stares, his sudden absence from court. And she spoke with a courage born of compassion. "If only my master were with the prophet who is in Samaria," she said. "He would cure him of his leprosy." Her words were simple, yet bold. In them was hope, not rooted in medicine, but in the power of a prophet named Elisha, known in Israel as a man through whom the God of heaven worked miracles. The girl's faith, forged in exile, was unwavering. Naaman's wife repeated the words to her husband. Intrigued and desperate, Naaman weighed his options. He could consult foreign doctors, drink exotic brews, or offer sacrifices to pagan gods. But none had helped thus far. Could there truly be healing in enemy lands? And yet, what did he have to lose? He went to his king. Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, valued Naaman like a precious gem. The general's victories had strengthened his reign. So when Naaman spoke of the prophet in Israel, the king did not scoff. "Go," the king said, "and I will send a letter to the king of Israel." Naaman was not sent empty-handed. He took with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 sets of garments, wealth fit for royalty. These were not merely gifts, they were symbols of diplomacy and status, offerings meant to secure favor. When Naaman arrived in Israel and presented the letter to King Jehoram, the reaction was far from expected. The letter read, "With this letter I am sending my servant Naaman to you so that you may cure him of his leprosy." Jehoram tore his robes. "Am I God, to kill and make alive?" he cried. "Why does this man send someone to me to be cured of leprosy? See how he is trying to pick a quarrel with me." To him, the letter was a trap, a provocation, an excuse for war. He did not think of Elisha. He only saw political danger. But word reached Elisha. When the prophet heard of the king's distress, he sent a message, "Why have you torn your robes? Let him come to me, and he will know that there is a prophet in Israel." So Naaman journeyed to Elisha's house with his horses and chariots, his gold and silver, his entourage and expectations. The general was used to honor, to ceremony. But Elisha did not even come out to meet him. Instead, Elisha sent a messenger. "Go," the messenger said, "wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored, and you will be clean." Naaman was furious. He had expected drama, perhaps a waving of the prophet's hand, an incantation, or a ritual. Instead, he was told to bathe in the Jordan, a muddy river by comparison to the mighty rivers of Damascus. Are not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Could I not wash in them and be clean? He shouted. And he turned away in rage. But as Naaman prepared to leave, his servants approached him with gentle words. My father, they said, if the prophet had asked you to do something great, would you not have done it? How much more, then, when he says to you, wash and be clean? Their reasoning pierced the pride that clouded Naaman's heart. He realized the truth in their words. Was he not willing to try anything? Even if it seemed too simple, too humble? So Naaman rode to the Jordan. He dismounted. The mighty warrior stepped into the water. Once. Twice. 3 times. Each time he emerged, his skin remained as it was, blemished and pale. 4. 5. 6. Still no change. But on the 7th time, as he rose from the water, something miraculous happened. His flesh was restored like that of a young boy. The leprosy was gone, utterly, completely gone. Naaman stood in the river, stunned, his arms gleaming with new life. The man who had commanded armies now stood in awe, overwhelmed by the mercy of a foreign god. Naaman returned to Elisha's house, no longer proud, no longer demanding. This time, he stood humbly before the prophet and said, Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. He tried to offer Elisha the gifts he had brought, the gold, the silver, the fine garments. But Elisha refused. As surely as the Lord lives, whom I serve, I will not accept a thing, the prophet said. Naaman urged him again, but Elisha remained resolute. The general then asked for something unexpected. Please let me, your servant, be given as much earth as a pair of mules can carry, for I will never again make burnt offerings or sacrifices to any other god but the Lord. To take the soil of Israel with him was symbolic. Naaman desired to worship Yahweh on holy ground, even from afar. Then he asked for pardon. He still served the king of Aram, and at times, he would have to accompany the king into the temple of Rimmon and bow. May the Lord forgive your servant for this, he said. Elisha's answer was tender, Go in peace. Naaman departed. But Elisha's servant, Gehazi, watched with a covetous eye. All that silver and gold, how could Elisha let it go? Gehazi pursued Naaman and lied to him, saying Elisha had changed his mind and now asked for a talent of silver and 2 sets of clothing for visiting prophets. Naaman, eager to express gratitude, gave him twice what he asked for. Gehazi hid the gifts and returned to Elisha as if nothing had happened. But Elisha knew. Where have you been, Gehazi? He asked. Your servant didn't go anywhere, Gehazi lied. Then came the prophet's words like thunder. Was not my spirit with you when the man got down from his chariot to meet you? Is this the time to take money or accept clothes, or olive groves and vineyards, or flocks and herds, or male and female slaves? Because of Gehazi's greed and deceit, Elisha pronounced judgment. Naaman's leprosy will cling to you and to your descendants forever. And Gehazi left Elisha's presence, his skin white as snow with leprosy. Naaman returned to Aram a changed man. Though he resumed his duties, he now lived with a deeper understanding of humility and mercy. The God of Israel had healed not only his skin but also his pride. He became a silent witness among pagans, a general who had bowed to the true God, not through battle, but through obedience and brokenness. And somewhere in Israel, a young servant girl likely smiled in quiet joy. Her faith had brought hope. Her simple words had sparked a miracle. Moral lesson. The story of Naaman's healing is more than an account of physical restoration, it is a profound lesson in humility, faith, and divine grace. Humility over pride. Naaman's pride nearly cost him his miracle. Only when he listened to his servants and obeyed the prophet's humble instructions did he receive healing. Faith from the least expected. It was a young slave girl, a victim of war, whose faith opened the door to Naaman's redemption. God often works through the most unlikely vessels. Divine mercy, not earned favor. Naaman tried to pay for healing, but God's miracles are not commodities. Elisha refused the gifts to show that God's mercy is freely given, not bought. Integrity in God's servants. Elisha's refusal to profit contrasted starkly with Gehazi's greed, reminding us of the importance of integrity in spiritual leadership. Ultimately, Naaman's story is a testament to a God who sees beyond borders, honors faith over status, and offers restoration to those willing to obey, even when the command is as simple as go wash in the Jordan.
Thanks for watching Bible Takes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.